Today on our guest lineup, we have some great gals and a young man joining us, and we're going to feature trick riding. It's been part of the Western world of rodeo for many, many years, and years ago, it was actually a judged event. And a lot of the old-time trick riders went down the road, and that's the way they made their money. But this morning we have, like I said, a terrific event to spotlight on, and that is the inaugural, the very first trick riding championship, United States versus Canada. And it's going to be taking place starting tomorrow. Right now we're going to bring up some of our competitors, a very elite group of trick riders from across the United States. We have Dusta, Kinzey. Oh, careful there. That's a high step, girls. I did the same thing. Hi, Dusta. Welcome, honey. Come on down. Okay, and we have Lindy, Nealey. Haley, I'm sorry, honey. This is Haley Ganzel. And this
Check
is
out those
Lindy
outfits.
Nealey. And we have Madison, MacDonald, Thomas. And our lone cowboy here in the group. You girls be nice. This is Trey Kinzey. This is Dusta's brother.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have a couple of you girls share a microphone here. Let's start out. Let's talk about, this championship. But before we go there, Madison has had the honor of performing at the WNFR for the last 6 years. And Madison, how's your NFR experience going?
This year's been awesome. We did the big contract act opening on Friday night, so it was myself plus Tomas Garcia-Lazo and Bobby Kerr, and it went off like an awesome experience and an awesome flawless performance. So it was pretty exciting to get out there again, and this year I got to do a lot more in the opening, so it was an awesome experience this year.
Well, I know that being retired from trick riding many years ago, in fact, I always tell everyone nowadays, if you see me hanging upside down from a horse, it's not on purpose. Call 911, please. But I can't tell you how thrilled Becky and I are to host you all here today. Tell us a little bit, Dusta, let's go down there to you, honey. Tell us a little bit about this inaugural North American Trick Riding Championship.
Actually, that's a much better question for Lindy or Haley. I'm not competing this year. I'm just here to support them and watch them, so I'm going to let them take over that question.
That sounds great. Okay, Lindy?
Okay, so this is on. Canada has been having trick riding competitions the last, what would you say, 10 years or 5 to 10 years probably?
No, I think it'd be about the last 3 years,
3 years.
4 years.
Okay,
yeah.
so they have quite an association going, and Madison has helped put an association together in the United States, and so they came together, and we're going to have a North American trick riding competition where it's kind of USA versus Canada. So I actually was able to go down to Stephenville and qualify in a trick riding competition that Madison put on, and I was the champion at that one, so that qualified me to come to the North American. So really excited to be here. And then Haley?
We also got, they haven't had competitions here since '07, so to have one in the United States and to have one here close to home, well, it's not that close to home, but to have one close to home.
Now, you're from outside of Tulsa, is that correct?
Yeah, so I'm from Oklahoma, and I got the privilege in competing in the competitions they had in Claremore, Oklahoma in '05, '06, and '07. So for it to go 10 years without having one here, it's a great opportunity to have, and it's great for our industry. So we're so excited to be here.
Well, I know, totally pumped about having it here. Dusta, comes from a trick riding family, of course, the Kinzeys. This is Dusta's brother, Trey. Now, Trey, you are also in the competition because this is open to men and women, correct?
Yes, me and Dusta work as a team, so I'm not in the competition either. But yes, the guys can enter the competition and be on a team as well.
Okay, and so now, about how many rodeos a year, Trey, do you and Dusta perform at?
We probably did 10 or so this year.
I think we did close to 30 performances this year, and so it varies a lot year to year. We have really busy, hectic schedules rodeoing as well. I'm a professional barrel racer, and Trey rides bulls, He's about to turn 18, so Sage better watch his back because here he comes.
I wasn't going to say a word, but.
Yeah, no, that's coming for sure. So with our really crazy hectic schedules, I still think we put in at least 30 or 40 performances this year trick riding as well. So
Wow, it keeps you busy and on the road. Now, Madison, tell us a little bit about the breakdown, if you would, of the different age groups, and are there divisions for like groundwork or strap tricks or. And first, I guess we should probably explain to members of our audience the difference. So,
Well, this year, what we're doing is there's a whole bunch of different categories. So it's only divided by age group. So it's pretty much like and gender, yes. So it's the men and the women's don't compete against each other. They're in totally separate categories. But it's a peewee, and then the youth, intermediate, and then open. So there's 4 different ones that kind of goes from 8 and under is the peewee, and then 9 to 12, and then 13 to 16, and then 17 and up. So those are the age categories right now, and there's no specific what tricks and who gets to do what. It's pretty much you pick 5 that you want to do, pick your 5 strongest tricks, and each round, it's just, and then the judge will knock off your lowest trick. So you take off the 4 highest will be your score at the end of the day.
will be the total score then.
Yeah.
And similar to go-rounds, how many go-rounds
There's
are
3
there?
this year. What we're doing is, because we have a limited time at Cowboy Christmas, they're only giving us an hour each day. So we want to make sure that each one of these competitors gets in there and gets to experience being up there. So what we're doing is we split it up. There's 3 rounds. So each one there's Horseman's Park in the morning, and then Cowboy Christmas in the afternoon, and then back to Horseman's Park at night for both days, Monday and Tuesday. And we just split it up, so each girl and each male gets to ride twice at Horseman's Park and once at Cowboy Christmas.
And okay.
And then at Cowboy Christmas, they're only doing 3 tricks apiece, and then at Horseman's Park, they're doing 5. So that's just a little bit more of a demonstration for Cowboy Christmas this year, to get a little bit taste of trick riding, and hopefully next year they'll let us have a little bit more time over there.
Oh, once anyone's seen it, I'm certain that next year y'all are going to be billed and have a lot more time, because it's something really unique. As I said earlier, trick riding used to be part of competition, and there's been so many great trick riders going down the road, and over the years, it kind of died out, and then all of a sudden we're seeing a new resurgence of it. So anyway, people always used to ask me, tell me about your horse. And it takes a very special kind of horse. And Dusta, I'll start over there with you.
oh man, you're gonna get me all emotional talking about my horse. I'm biased, and I know all these girls are biased too. So I know they'll tell you they have the best horse going up and down the road, and so will I. My little horse Snips turned 23 this year. He's completely navicular and rotated, so he shouldn't even be able to walk on paper. And in reality, he still thinks he's Secretariat. He
It's the
gets out
heart.
there and he just runs. He's all heart. He's the best. He's taking care of me. I'm in my 15th season, I think, with Snips. I started with him, and this is like my 15th year of trick riding. So he's been with me from the word go. And I have other horses I ride as well that I love, but man, there's never going to be another Snips. No matter how long I ride, he's it. He'll always be my number one. He's the man I trust the most. Sorry, Will.
Well,
And I know he'd do anything for me, anything.
right. And, all of us have that one very special horse. We have our backups, our fill-ins, but there's that one. And you literally do put your life, in their hands. Haley?
You have the one that you can't get back to. That happens a lot. You've got a lot that come in that are good, but you only have one that's really great. And so I think we've all had that one. I know, sitting at the table anyways. And my one is Hurt, and I think that she's probably done for good. I actually won the trick riding competition in 2007 on her, and she flew. That was the biggest thing. I started trick riding on her whenever I was 11 years old, and we raised her from a baby. She was awful in the beginning, and she ran my dad over, and they said she wouldn't make a trick riding horse. And I was like, no, she is. I trained her. She'll make a trick riding horse. And she did. So I've trick ridden on her for 9 years. And 2 summers ago, she partially tore a tendon in 3 spots. And so I rode some of Lindy's horses for the rest of the summer. I had one coming up, and I bought him 2 weeks prior to us working Springdale, Arkansas. And I had 2 weeks to make a trick riding horse. And he made one. He still bucks, and he's still He's a little bit feisty, but he's who I have here. So he's a good one. He's just
Well,
not a
and
great
you know,
one.
a good trick riding horse is one that is very level-headed. And you know, you girls, you know, when you're hanging off the side, and we're going to talk to you about groundwork in a minute, Trey. But these girls do, besides groundwork, a lot of strap tricks that the men don't usually participate in. But you have to have a horse that's stout. You have to have one that when you're hanging off the side of him, he's going to stand up and pull against you instead of fall into there. So it takes a extremely athletic horse with good sensibility and a heart about as big as Texas is what I'm going to say. Lindy, tell us about your horse, hon.
My one horse would be Gunner. He's 19 this year. I started trick riding on him when he was 7. And he kind of got my start too. There wasn't really any training involved. I was 10 years old and just kind of started hanging off the side of him, and he just took to it. So there really wasn't, it was pretty easy to train him, and I've since had a wake-up call with other horses since then. But he was the horse that if my saddle started to slip in a show, he would just stop, and they're trained to just run to the corner, you know, never stop if they're hanging off the side of you. And he would know when I was in a bad spot and stop and let me get back on. So he's always held a special place in my heart. And he's still going. I don't have him here just because it was a long, long trip, and I want to be able to save him for as long as I can. But I brought the 2 younger guys this year.
Perfect. Madison, what about you?
Oh man, I got an amazing team, but it's like the same as them. I swear they don't really get to be awesome until they are almost too old to even go anymore. The one mare that I use here, she's 22, but I pretty much save her just for Vegas to run around the pyro because there's not very many horses that can handle that situation. Continuously, always going in there and knowing what to expect. She's just as solid could be. I wish I could take her down the road more, but it's like them. She's 22 and she's got, you know, arthritis, and she's starting to get up there. So, but I got all my good A-team is starting to get on the way up. They're all getting to be about 16 to 22 now, and I got some coming up behind them. I have an awesome 9-year-old coming up, but it's hard. It's really hard when you have those good horses that you started from when, you know, you've been on them for 10, 11 years. You completely trust them. You know that no matter every time that they go into that arena that they're going to do their job, and you don't have to worry about them, and you just get to go do your job and have fun. So it's really, really hard when the good ones start getting older because you just replacing them. It's just, you always say there's never going to be another one like him.
Oh, I know, and I can only imagine how hard it would be. Trey, you do a lot of groundwork, and groundwork, well, all of it takes a lot of timing and special skills, but your groundwork, especially when you're doing, you know, vaults and you know, everything. Tell us a little bit about groundwork and about what you look for in your trick riding horse.
Yes, ma'am. My trick riding horse, like everybody, mine's the best. Actually,
No, Dusta said hers was. She's still older than you.
Yeah.
And I'm always right.
No, actually, my horse, a buddy called me and said, hey, we got a great roping horse for you. Anyway, I tried her. I didn't like her, and I let Dusta get on her, and she was like starting to hang off the side of her, just doing stuff, and she literally, I performed my first pro rodeo in 2 months on her. So, and she just picked up just fast and easy. But yeah, groundwork, in vaults, we have to use a trampoline, at least I do. I mean, yeah. Groundwork, I mean, all the vaults, you have to use a trampoline. So I just ride your horse right next to the trampoline and then practice your vaults. It's just like hitting the momentum when the horse is running. So you can set still and just have the same momentum that the horse is running, and just like you're in a show.
Right, and you know, I think one main difference I always noticed years ago, and that is the faster your horse ran when you're doing strap tricks, the easier it became, and it was just, you know, it was just flowing. But I know that, you know, when you're trying to do some vaults and groundwork, it's nice to have a horse that you can feel the movement underneath, so, you know, to get that timing right, because if your feet don't hit right with that horse's, you're not going to get that lift.
Oh, yes, I totally agree. I mean, I think the faster the horse is running, the easier the trick. So I would just rather not even do groundwork and just go trick ride.
Well, you know, what time tomorrow does everything kick off?
Tomorrow morning it starts at, well, it's early. It's 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Horseman's Park, and then it goes from about 1 to 2 or 2:30 at the convention center, and then we're back at Horseman's Park at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So it's the same schedule both days. There's different girls running and men at different times. We kind of spread them all out so they could have a little bit of a break between each round.
Sure.
And yeah, it's going to be a good time. There's 44 competitors, I think, that are in it this year. We got people all the way from like Illinois and from northern Alberta. Mostly everybody just came out of the Alberta area in Canada. That seems where all the trick riders come from up there. But yeah, they're spread out from all over, and they're all back down here in one area and ready to compete.
You know, talking about Canada, there's so many great trick riders from Canada, and I particularly remember back in the day, and that would be Jerry and Joy Deuce. And
I think Jerry is going to be one of our judges this year.
Is she?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
She was supposed to be coming down from Canada. I think she's arriving today, so it's supposed to be Jerry and Tad Griffith will be the judges of this one.
Tad. Yes,
ma'am.
absolutely. Yeah,